Sayre's Pecha on Chinmoku, Silence in Japanese Communication. This presentation is based on information found in the book The Japanese Mind, Understanding Contemporary Japanese Culture, edited by Roger J. Davies and Osamu Ikuno. Generally, there are four main types of communication. These are verbal, where voices and speaking are used; nonverbal, which includes gestures, facial expressions, and body language; written involves any form of text, such as emails and letters; then visual, that uses images and symbols. In Japan, they use a fifth form of communication called Chinmoku. This is when they use meaning within the sound of silence. So what does this mean exactly? The book quotes, "Silence can be a matter of saying nothing and meaning something." Two underlining factors that brought about Chinmoku. The first is historical factors, which is always involved when speaking of a nation's culture. The second is group consciousness. The Japanese are aware of how they act and speak around specific people, so they can show respect where it is due. The Japanese have long treated silence as a kind of virtue similar to truthfulness. The words hirage and ishin denshin symbolize Japanese attitudes toward human interactions in this regard. Hirage means implicit mutual understanding. Ishin denshin suggests people can communicate telepathically. This attitude is deeply rooted in a Japanese way of thinking known as uchi-soto, or inner and outer duality. Zen Buddhism is thought to have had a great influence on the development of these attitudes toward silence in Japan, since Zen training is designed to teach that truth cannot be described verbally but can only exist in silence. Traditional Japanese art and the spirit of Do, the way or path, reflect this characteristic silence. Music is said to contain ma, meaning the intervals between sound. In kabuki dramas and no plays, it is the silence between lines that express tension, excitement, and the climax. Group consciousness is symbolized by the saying "deru kui wa utaru," the nail that sticks out will be hammered down. In Japanese society, where people usually identify themselves primarily as members of certain groups, not just as individuals, silence plays a very important role in creating harmony and avoiding direct conflict. Silence is commonly thought to indicate thoughtfulness or hesitation in trying to find a good way to communicate smoothly. Therefore, even though people have something to say, they may not express everything they have on their mind, and may leave their true intentions unspoken. This kind of silence is known as enro sashi, meaning reserve and restraint. Japanese silence occurs not only in public, but also in private interactions, particularly in conjugal relationships, because the couple are in love, but too embarrassed to express their feelings in speech. Silence thus functions as a kind of lubricating oil to create smoother communication, because it helps avoid hurting other people. On the other hand, silence can frequently cause misunderstandings, even in Japanese interactions. In fact, it is not unusual for people to feel irritated and impatient when they cannot understand each other because their expressions are too indirect to follow. The Japanese may also be silent, not only to avoid conflict with others, but also to hurt someone or keep them at a distance. When people feel angry or are in disagreement with others, they may not directly express their feelings, but often just keep silent and ignore the other person. Silence has a way of avoiding potentially troublesome expression, can thus function either positively or negatively. To create a harmonious atmosphere, silence may play an important role in Japanese interactions, but it can also arise from less than noble attitudes such as shirking responsibility, awkwardness, or apathy. Because silence can be so powerful, I personally feel that silence could potentially be Japan's most famous last words. Whether it's done purposefully to defiantly aggravate their opponent, or done by accident because they simply hesitated for too long and ran out of time to think of something to say. In communication with people from other countries, silence can become a serious obstacle to intercultural understanding. When the Japanese are silent, it could imply consideration, modesty, patience, embarrassment, resentment, defiance, and apathy. Understandably, this can cause confusion for non-Japanese. An example of Chinmoku can be between a student and master, where the most important lessons are taught through silent observation. Some other examples are in moments of grief, walking through a forest, or in a business meeting when gauging the other party's intentions. Another example of Chinmoku is when you are doing a Pecha Kucha presentation in class and you have run out of things to say, but you still have another slide to fill 20 seconds with something. Now consider, do you agree that silence plays an important role in maintaining harmony and avoiding conflict in Japan? It is quite difficult to show your real abilities and knowledge openly in Japan. How is this different or similar from other countries? Turn and share your thoughts with a partner.